Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Hi there.
I'm really excited to be gathering this amazing group of practitioners and healers with me today in honor of a new book that I have written called The Body Image Blueprint, your go-to guide for radical self-reverence. And so I have, put together this amazing roundtable with practitioners who are in the space of intuitive eating, body image support, eating psychology, and we're going to have just a really great conversation today about body image and about societal dictums about what is considered beautiful, what is not, and the detrimental effects that it may have on our clients and on our psyches and on ourselves. And I think this is such an important conversation to have. As the mom of 3 daughters, it's something that I'm confronting every single day. And one of the reasons why I wrote the book and one of the reasons why I stopped dieting in general was because I wanted to stop the blood supply, of continuous chronic dieting and having my children bear witness to that, only to have that embedded into their everyday lives. And then to stop the blood supply of feeling like you have to be perfect and you have to eat a certain way, look a certain way, all of those things, which can be so detrimental. So I wanted to just take a few minutes to just go around and introduce everyone. Everyone has different, journey and background and training. And I'd love to just take, 1 or 2 minutes, each of you, to tell us a little bit about you, your niche, how you work with clients, what your specialty is, and then in specific, what your interest is in terms of the body image topic. So Tanya, why don't we start with you? And then we'll go down from there.
Well, super excited to meet you all and be here. And this is an amazing conversation. Thanks for writing the book, Jenny. Can't wait to read it. I'm Tanya Mark, and I'm in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I'm a mind-body nutrition and dynamic eating psychology coach. I also do lifestyle coaching. And my background is very body oriented. I was a massage therapist for about 12 years. I've also been a personal trainer, so I've been in the exercise world. And then I moved to nutrition and eating psychology. Thank goodness. Just a powerful, powerful piece of work. The main clients that I work with, I live in a very athletic community, and we have people of all different sizes and shapes. However, it breaks my heart to see some of my clients come in here and really have challenges with body confidence and image and weight and all the things that go along with that. And so this is a powerful piece of work, and I'm really honored to be among this amazing group of eating psychology coaches, or whatever you might be able to call yourself. So nice to meet everybody.
Thank you so much, Tanya. It's great to have you. Susan, why don't we move over to you next?
Thank you, Jenny. So happy to be here. My name's Susan Garish, and I am a life and eating coach. That's what I'm going to call myself today, because I got busted for using the word psychology in the state of Florida. So my background is in mind-body wellness, the psychology of mind-body wellness, and connecting people with themselves on a much deeper level. So I find that most of my clients are just tormented by food. And they go, I don't even want to think about what I'm going to choose to eat in my next meal. So they're just not grounded at all in what to eat, when to eat, where to eat, how to eat, all those different psychologies that we use when we eat. And the gift that I would like to give them is to know that there's no such thing as being perfect, and that the exploration they do reaches them on a much, much deeper level. So what was the next question?
No, I think you covered it. No,
okay,
that's
great.
good.
Thanks.
It's great. So Joe, let's hear from you next.
Cool. Hi, I'm Joe Bernstein. I'm in Washington, D.C., and the heartbeat of a lot of cool things happening in the world right now. Or not. So my title I've landed on is professional coach. I am in the process of unniching, actually, because no matter what I called myself or no matter what I said I did, People land in my practice for all kinds of things, everything from helping them get out of debt and get some promotions where they can make more money, to really doing some powerful work on sexuality, to, of course, I am certified as an eating psychology, mind, body, nutrition coach. So my average client does like the idea of losing weight or changing habits or starting to exercise after decades of not exercising. But typically they're coming to me because they know that it's much deeper than that, and we need to make some big life transformations rather than just create some new habits. So I like to say I'm an expert in destruction and creation, pretty much my thing. And typically I work with clients long-term, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, because I really want to make sure that they have the ability to change what they need and the ability to integrate that change, and it's not going to go somewhere. And they're shifting their mindset out of the kind of victim mode to a creator mode where they can just take off and start creating change wherever they like, assisted or not assisted in the future.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I guess I'll just do a brief intro myself. So I'm Jenny Burke. I should have said that from the beginning. And I'm also an eating psychology coach. I also consider myself a mindful eating expert or instructor and a body image mentor, and also a health and wellness blogger. So I love supporting people with healing their relationship with food and with their bodies. And, you know, it's such a personal topic. And I feel always very privileged that people entrust, you know, that they put their trust in me to discuss these types of really personal, deep-seated issues, you know, that are so prevalent, but go so far back, you know. So we get this opportunity to work with people in the present, but we can also kind of peel the layers of the onion and understand where some of these wounds came from and how it's presenting in their everyday lives with respect to their relationship with food and with their bodies. So that's me. And let's move on to Sydney. Hi, Sydney.
Hey, hi. Yeah, I'm Sydney Peterson, and I'm in Wisconsin. So I'm just south of Milwaukee. And I label myself, I guess, as a food and body image coach. And I am a plant-based eater, but I call myself a plant-based coach for everybody, right? Every single body. And I have a particular interest in women who are plant-based eaters or follow a vegan lifestyle, who are really entrapped in like binge episodes or like the clean eating orthorexia type of stuff, because that's a lot of what I've gone through myself, trying to come out the other side of rationalizing why things are happening and emotionally for the person, because these people tend to have very strong reasons for doing what they're doing ethically. And it's really hard to navigate that world when it's half of that or more revolves around food, right? And how to be in relationship with food. And also a lot of these people tend to be in fitness communities. So it's very niche, but I don't necessarily restrict myself to people like that. I have a lot of different people that will come to me for help. So I do have a Facebook group, and I do some blogging and posts, stuff like that. And I generally meet at this point over Skype, but am looking to do more in-person group type of things, like classwork, extended classwork and that.
Great. That's wonderful. You're offering a lot. It's fantastic. And Lauren, let's hear from you.
Sure. So I am, in the process of becoming a certified intuitive eating coach and certified integrative nutrition coach. So, but I use more of the intuitive eating side of it. I really work with women who they're tired of being like controlled by food rules. They've dealt with yo-yo dieting or, restricting, binging, just basically feeling, controlled by food and not feeling comfortable in their bodies and feeling like they just don't know how to get out of that cycle. So I work with, the intuitive eating model to help them get to a place of basically like ultimate peace with food, and their bodies for life. So they can live, just not stressing about all the crazy things that we have to deal with when it comes to like, you know, food and nutrition and body. And so it's a lot of my clients know a lot about nutrition and health, and maybe even too much, you know, they've become obsessed with it, and have a lot of guilt and just negative feelings around it. So I kind of help them unravel that and get back, you know, in tune with their intuitive eater that I believe we all have inside of us. And just make peace with that process. So I work one-on-one with people. I'm also working on creating like a online course that I can offer people as well too. But when I'm in San Antonio, Texas, you can probably tell from my accent. Most people say they can. So that's me.
Great. Well, welcome again. And Lauren just got engaged, so congratulations.
I did.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
And Sherry, are you with us? You're here, right? Oh, we can't hear you though. Can you get off of mute? There's a little button on the side. So we're just doing some introductions. And if you could just let us know what your niche is and how you support people.
Well, I'm just everybody, but I'm just starting. Like I coached in 2014 and 2015 life coaching, and then since graduating from IPE, I haven't really started yet. I've had, well, that's kind of a lie. I've had 2 clients that were kind of practice clients. So really, I don't really have a ton as far as my experience with coaching body image, although one of my clients was in that kind of arena. But so what were you telling me to?
Yeah, we're just doing introductions. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can get into a different speaker.
Hey, Sydney.
Hey, how you doing?
I think this is the best way to do the carousel view. So I'm going to just start bouncing off some questions, and whoever wants to jump in, great. There's a lot to discuss here for sure. And I just really want to start off by asking you, from your opinion, where do you believe one's body image actually comes from? Like, which factor is most prevalent? Is it society and media? Is it like one's peers? Maybe it's from someone's parents? Or does it come really from within? So really what I'm asking is, when you look at your identity and your identity of self, does that come intrinsically, or does it more of an external type of opinion that gets generated over time? So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it is obviously very, very internal, but at the same time, I'll tell you my own personal story. I hope my sister isn't listening, but she was really a perfectionist. And her philosophy was never too skinny, never too much money. And that just, she was my older sister. It cascaded down because I wasn't skinny. And it just cascaded down. She's really a perfectionist. She still is. And she always talks from that point of view. And she's really insecure, actually. And so that always influenced me a lot. And, but, I always felt loved by my parents. My parents never talked about size or anything like that. They were, I don't think it really crossed their mind. I think that they had a pretty good range of normal. Like my sister used to say, oh, your sisters are so skinny, their clothes just hang on them, So, but that was my story. I can see that other people, a lot of my clients, they have a very tenuous relationship with their mothers, and they got a lot of negative feedback from their mothers. I hear this story over and over and over again, and they don't have that connection and feeling of being loved. So it's really impactful from that point of view. That wasn't me, it was my sister.
No, I think it's important what you're saying, like that it can come from so many places. In the interviews that I did with people in my book, I asked this very question, and it was remarkable to me. This came from pediatricians, and it came from school teachers, and it came from gym teachers, and comments that we sort of embed as our identity can come from so many, even the most benign places that you don't even expect. And it sounds like with your sister, it sounded like that made an impact on you. So anybody else have any thoughts on this or opinions?
I'm sorry. My thought was my initial reaction was it's totally external. Like it's, my experience, I guess, is just growing up with the magazines, the Cosmo, and everything that we used to flip through, and the airbrushed models, and hearing these stories about how actresses have to lose weight or they're not going to have work. And I think from my initial reaction to that question, it just seems like, yes, I think good parenting and good, solid, strong friendships and positive, unconditional love can kind of counteract that a little bit. But my feeling is just like, how are we really going to get to the bottom of it with the way the world is, without really strong support,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I kind of
read my book, right?
it just came to my mind, the movie The Jungle Book, what is it, Mowgli? Like he grows, right? That's his name. He grows up with the animals and stuff like that. And it's like, I was thinking, because I love animals, if I was completely surrounded by animals and in that construct, and that's who was taking care of me, like the animals, they don't have this screwed up, messed up way of like looking at each other's bodies. They're about, survival, reproduction, eating, like to maintain life. And so that's why I have to agree with Sherry in that I feel like that really at least 90% of what's going on is an external influence. Everything that we're just bombarded with every single day, media, family, all of that sort of thing, is huge impact.
Yeah, so it kind of begs the question. So if we can agree really that a big part of it has to do with external influences, then what is necessary? What are the steps and techniques and strategies necessary that we can take on as practitioners and healers and coaches to really stop the promulgation of unattainable body ideals in our society today? Or is it insurmountable? So I would love to sort of touch on that a little bit, like maybe some of the techniques that you use on your clients, your body image challenge clients, or that you've used on yourself to heal your own relationship with your bodies. So anyone can jump in.
One of the things that I've really experienced as just being in the fitness world for many years is that all the trainers look a certain way, typically, or a certain size, blah, 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 blah. And one of the things, I'm no longer a trainer. I'm not in that realm anymore. However, one of the influences that I've had in my own community is having people of different sizes, shapes, etc., working as trainers and encouraging that. I went to speak at a lot of different gyms in the area on this subject and really talking to the owners of these fitness facilities and helping them understand body image and self-confidence and how important it is for us to have normal human beings training human beings. That's been really huge. The other thing that I think has been helpful, and I've been seeing it recently, are magazines like, or catalogs, I should say, in the fitness world, like Athleta, which is a women's, and they also do girls too. I have to congratulate them, and we have to support catalogs and people who are doing things to promote, showing images of all kinds of different people, males and females in different sizes and shapes, in bathing suits, in any kind of attire at all. And if we can support those communities and reach out and tell them, yes, this is what we want, I think this is really super useful. Like Target is doing a lot of their photo shoots with different sizes and shapes. And I just think if we just really, individually, we support that. And then, as a practitioner, because there's so many ways that we're influenced by our body image. For example, I remember running around as a little kid, and you're all naked and you don't care what you're wearing, and and then we learn it through what we discussed. All these external things start coming in and influencing us on how we feel. So, in my own practice here, working with clients, I, again, use a lot of different techniques. It could be journaling techniques, really focusing on our mindset and the positivity in our world, because our thoughts are super powerful. I've used tapping, which is acupressure points and psychology mixed together to release some of the stresses and the beliefs that we have around ourselves. There's so many different techniques, and I'd love to have the rest of you guys jump in and share your strategies as well.
Great. This is awesome.
Yeah, another brand that is really coming to the forefront, or they already have actually, is Dove. Dove had a big campaign with women in underwear. And then they did another campaign where an artist, they went in and they talked about how they looked, and an artist made a picture of them based on what they said about themselves. Then another person described how that person looked, and the artist made a picture of that. So there were two images. One was always a very negative image, and that's the image that the person made of themselves. And the other image was the image of people looking at them. And they were, you know, that was always the happy image. So they've done some amazing work there. And some of the people I admire, and I ask my clients to look at them and do a little research too, is like Ashley Graham. She's the size 16 Sports Illustrated cover model. There's another woman that's doing Sports Illustrated who's really stunning. She's amazing. I love their bravery because for myself, I never had that. You know, I never had that kind of bravery to expose myself. Ashley Graham also did a runway modeling, a runway show with her lingerie. I posted that on my website and I asked people, what do you think about this? And everybody really applauded it. I think in people's hearts, they want to see other people that have courage to be themselves. And then that gives them courage as well. People want to see that. They don't want to see someone cowering, you know, even though that's how we feel individually many times. But they love to see that vulnerability and courage. So I love those role models.
Yeah, I think this is great so far. I mean, what I'm hearing from Tanya is that even looking at systems like health and wellness systems where we as practitioners and healers of body image can actually train other people in different fields of fitness and about this, and how we can sort of have a paradigm shift in how we look at people in terms of the fitness world and the health and wellness field. Joe, I wanted to ask you really quick, because you work with a lot of men, right?
I do. I've worked with more men overall than women. But now in my practice, I'm like 70% women. So, you know, I have a personal story of growing up obese. I was 340 pounds in my mid-20s. I've lost about 156, 160-ish, kept it off. And I employ a lot of what worked for me with clients, and I do a lot of experimentation. So what I find actually worked for me and works for clients is there's two levels. Like there's an external level of reprogramming, which I think is a lot of what we've already talked about already. So this external level is looking for positive role models that have a body type that's similar to yours. Looking for people in your life that have that confidence and they have the relationship and the career, all the stuff that you think you will get when you change your body, finding a model that has that. Looking at different systems or catalogs that promote different body types. But I only think that's going to get us so far. So I know what worked for me was I was rounding the corner around 200, 220 pounds. I already lost 100 plus pounds. It became very clear to me, my body will never look like the vision that I thought it would be. So I have leftover skin, right, still. And I was born as, you know, a Russian Jew, and I have a lot of body hair. There's never going to be that like male model, He-Man looking body, no matter what I do. I could probably lose 20 pounds of fat, and I could be 3% body fat, and I'm still not going to look like that. So for me, I had to do a lot of, this is well before I did the IPE training, but I had to do a lot of mirror work. I had to do a lot of mirror work with affirmations. I had to do a lot of just general affirmation work. Things like, and I even subscribe this for men, and for men, this can be just mind-blowing. Experiences to embody that we would think would be more feminine. So yoga. I had an experience this morning at yoga, which totally opened up an awareness and a connection to my body and I've been doing yoga for a year and a half. or self-massage, just learning self-massage with oil, learning to treat your body right and pamper your body. But then also really working on mindset. So finding ways to reprogram, finding ways to go into it, and also looking at values. I think before we do work on eating and on body image, I'll spend a month with someone looking at their values and how they've aligned their beliefs of what's important to them in their life. And if they're stepping into their values, and we're also looking at their motivation for why do you want to lose this weight or why do you want to look a certain way, it's never simply to look a certain way. It's to gain some sort of feeling or experience, a relationship or vision of success that they have never had. So we can start working them towards that before they get that change in their body. You can ask them just, so do you really need this change in the body? And at the end of the day, they're still lying to themselves if the answer is yes, right? I can be a little confrontational and call out the BS and call out the lying to themselves, and I will do that. Yeah.
That's great. I love having that perspective. I mean, our identity, it's funny, it changes as we age, right? If we've gained a lot of weight, if we've lost a lot of weight, if we cut our hair, I mean, it's not just one thing that makes us feel a certain way about our bodies. Given we have about 4 minutes left, and here's what I'm thinking. I'd love to do like this be part 1, and then we can have part 2. So I think what we'll do is just sort of summarize what we've talked about so far, and then we're all going to log off, and we'll just log right back on, and we'll start part 2 so we can continue this conversation and delve a little bit deeper before we part ways. Does that sound good to everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've talked about so far is just, whether or not body image is something that really comes from within, that we just have our own internal, ideas and stories about what we look like, and if that's acceptable and what our self-worth is, or if it's much more prevalent that we're getting those opinions and based on external factors. And it sounded like most of us agree that, at least to a large degree, it's based on other people's opinions. And we think about how our power is stripped from us.
Right.
We place our value on ourselves based on other people's stories, other people's perceptions, and other people's opinions. And what I'd love to talk about next, and sort of the next part of this, is how we can get our clients and ourselves to reclaim that power and to realign ourselves to change those perceptions and change those potential like subjective body ideals in a way so that we can all feel empowered, we can all feel comfortable in our skin, no matter what our age is, no matter what our size is, no matter what our appearance is. And we've agreed that tough work has to be done, really. It's not just some simple, all right, let's just change society. Tanya, you talked really well about how you can actually do presentations and sort of train other people in our field about this. And Joe, some of the ways that you've talked, you lost a tremendous amount of weight, and I'm sure that left, a really lasting impression just in terms of who you were at 340 pounds versus who you are now, and some of the ways that you sort of have to deal with that new identity in some ways. So let's all take a minute to just log off, and then we'll log back on and just finish up with a couple more questions. Does that sound good?
Yeah, same link?
Same link, yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. That was a great idea.
Jenny, I'm going to let my dog out real quick, so I'll be back in like a minute.
All right, sounds good.
Jenny, are you still recording?